At this stage of the build, the mahogany bottom of this Explorer type body is now ready to accept the top. I've carved out some of the cavities for the electronics and some cavities for weight relief. I also sanded this smooth with a rough sandpaper. This top was made from two pieces that I joined together and then brought it down to proper thickness. I drew the center line so I could align it with the bottom. The top is slightly oversized compared to the bottom, and once the pair is glued up, then I'll use a router to make it flush with the body. So now I'm ready to apply the glue and clamp these two together. But I never have enough clamps, and this body is particularly large. So instead of clamping, I will be pressing the two together. And for that I created a jig, and that's what I'll show you next. So this is the pressing machine that I built. It's not particularly pretty, but it doesn't have to be. I went online searching for a press system for guitar bodies, but didn't find much information. What I did find was people making skateboards at home were using this kind of press. So the way this works, you place a piece of plywood at the bottom, then your top and bottom of the guitar, then another piece on the top, and then you press them together. The easiest way I found to do it was to use car jacks. And then as you lift, it'll press your guitar bodies together. And that's the system that I'll use to join the top and bottom of this guitar. To give you an idea of how this press works, I'm going to use these two pieces of pine, which are cupped, and put it into the machine. So I don't want the glue to go into the electronics cavity, so I'm going to tape that off for now, apply the glue on the surface, and then remove the tape before putting on the top. So that way there'll be a minimum amount of glue that will go into these cavities. I don't want to apply glue on the whole surface of this top because I don't want the glue to go into these big cavities. There's no point in putting glue there. I have the outline of the cavities on this template, and I will basically roughly draw these cavities onto the back of this top and then limit the amount of glue in these areas. This doesn't have to be very precise. My goal is not to eliminate all glue from going to the cavities, but just to minimize it. So I'm going to be using 2 jacks, not for the extra pressure, but for the distribution of the pressure. I'll get better distribution this way. And of course I need to constantly make sure that my center lines are aligned, because the glue at this point is acting more like a lubricant than an actual glue. Now I put the walnut body at the bottom. The reason is that the glue will go onto this piece that's extending outward, and that will be trimmed off with the router later. That prevents the glue from going onto the mahogany body. So the glue has been drying for well over 24 hours now. And as you can see, I've added a few extra clamps in areas where the body was extending beyond the plywood. Something else to note is that I didn't put the full pressure on the jacks, just enough to squeeze the glue. So now I'm ready to take this apart and take a look at the body. This press is simply a kind of cage where the top and bottom are linked with some vertical beams. I made this from scrap wood, and for extra rigidity I both glued and screwed everything together to make it really stiff. Something to note is I found that the pressure of the jack is very localized to the area where it's being applied. That's why I use 2 jacks, again not for the extra pressure, but for better distribution of the pressure. Let me know if you have any questions about this, or perhaps if you have any ideas for how to improve it.